Hello, hi, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name's Rachel and we're in a whole new world. We're actually still in my office, but the long weekend was great for knocking out some house projects and I got the wallpaper hung. It might look somewhat familiar. It was on Hannah Louise Poston's channel way back when. I fell in love with it then. I saved up. I knew that I wanted it in my office and it makes me so happy. It's also giving much better white balance and color realness because the Oyster White by Sherwin-Williams that's on my walls can go different with the lighting. It can be yellow, gray, blue, green, tan. It's a lovely color in that regard, but not for filming true to color. So I'm very excited about that. But what we're here for today is Mob Beauty, and I could not be more excited. I have been waiting to film this video and I just can't wait any longer. So we're gonna do it today. So Frank's here. There you go. He's in the building. All right, let's dive in. All right, so I have my foundation, concealer, and eyebrows on with a little bit of powder under my eyes. It's my typical go-to products. I'll put them down below. But what we're here for today is Mob Beauty. Now, I have purchased everything from their line except for mascara. So I want to go really in depth with the ethos of the brand, where they started, all of that, and we're going to do that kind of in the wrap-up portion of this video. But for the purpose of application, let's talk about the products that I did pick up. I picked up some cream and powder blushes and bronzers, and then some powder eyeshadows on this side, and then we have cake liners on this side, which is a powder product that you wet to use as eyeliner. I also picked up some of their clay cream eyeshadows, and then I picked up one of their lipsticks. So if you can't tell the vibes already, it's going to be very berry fall is what we're going for, like my nails. So I'm very excited. We're going to get into this. I'll touch on a little bit of the brand because it does need shouted out in terms of the packaging. So you might look at this and be like, meh, but these are all refillable. You can get different sized palettes. This is the plastic palettes, but they are also prototyping cardboard palettes like this because the whole ethos of this brand is beauty that is good for the earth. So think good ingredients, recyclable and recycled packaging, and it all ships in this cardboard envelope situation. So very, very good ethos when it comes to the earth in general. Let's get into this look. I'm so excited to film today. The palettes have a really thick plastic. They feel weighty. They don't feel junky, if that makes any sense. Like sometimes when we have these like very eco-friendly packaging, you kind of lose on luxury. You do not with this, and I know why, and we'll get into that later. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to be calling all of these products by their name, which is going to be M for makeup, and then the number. They've all been numbered according to how they were, the order in which they were formulated and approved. Let's go into the bronzer first. I actually want to go into the cream bronzer, which I have an M80 right here, while Frank digs his life away. All right, into that cream bronzer. I'm going to try this on the Katie Jane Hughes brushes before. I have worn a full face of Mob Beauty already, and I like it. I like it very much. I like it even more because of the ethos. So I will swatch all of these on the back of my hand too as we go here. This is a very rosy, almost cool tone, so I'm using it kind of like a contour. It's kind of like a bronzer on my skin tone. I keep thinking like, am I washed out? But then it's like, no girl, you're just this pale. This is you. As you can see, it goes on, blends out really easy, even with using a newer brush. My bangs, I did not, that's another thing, I did not, it's the first day back from a long weekend. I couldn't bring myself to put real clothes on, so I have my Barefoot Dreams and a set from Aerie. And that's what you're gonna get today. My hair is also in a clip and not very well, so my new bangs are kind of like begging to be styled, but I just can't bring myself to it. So there is that kind of bronzer shade, very skin-like finish. It is a cream. It doesn't set all the way down, but it is not sticky at all, which I very much so appreciate. So then to keep with the creams, I'm gonna go in with the cream blush here on the bottom, which I have in shade M73, which I was going for that, a nice little berry capsule in this palette. And that is indeed what I got. Now this is like a true, it's almost more red than berry, but I do really like it. My dog is a mess. Also, I should have mentioned in that video where he got sick, he's fine. It was just a little tummy trouble one day, and then he was perfectly fine. We just didn't want to put him in a car for almost an hour to go to dinner when he was not feeling well. So thank you for the concern, but he's a-okay. All right, moving into now some powders. I'm gonna go in with this powder bronzer in M36. And again, this is pretty rosy, which you know I love. I love a rosy blush or bronzer because I don't tan, okay? I burn. I used to tan, but not anymore. And I'm not going to go all the way across my forehead because this is much deeper and I have that cream. I'm just gonna blend whatever's left on the brush because we are kind of doubling up cream and powder, which I don't always do, but if you do want lasting power to your makeup, that's an excellent way to do it. Very nice, very satin finish. I love it. And then let's go into the powder blush right now, which is M31 here. And it is slightly lighter. We're gonna swatch these as soon as I get this on my face. Let's do that instead. Just gonna tap over where I had that before, and you'll see these powders are a little bit more matte. It still looks like skin. It's not, it's allowing some radiance from my Chantecaille Future Skin Gel foundation through, which I appreciate, but it is not dewy. It gives a nice satin blur to the cheeks. And that's where we're gonna leave it for blush and bronzer. And I'm starting to feel the fallness. But let's swatch these four real quick. All right, so I have them swatched on my hand. The first one is that cream bronzer in M80 at the top. You'll see that it is very rosy for a bronzer. It has taupe to it too, so very much so a bronzer, leaning to almost a blush bronzer contour in one. Then we have the powder bronzer next to that in M36, which again is verging on a blush color almost. It's that rosy, so very, very rosy. Then we have our powder blush in M31, which is very light on the swatch, but you can see a lot of red, but it is a berry, but a lot of red to it. And then the cream blush in last place on swatches on my arms. What am I saying? That is M73 cream blush, which is almost like a deeper, more pigmented version of the powder blush. But just for reference on how rosy these bronzers are, I'm gonna pull out the Gucci bronzer that I wear most of the time. That is a very rosy bronzer. Let's see what that looks like next to these. Yeah, so that's the rosiest bronzer that I have, the Gucci right here. So you can see that the powder is very, very close to that, but even more rosiness. And then that cream. Honestly, we should look at that next to Westman Atelier Biscuit. All right, so here is Westman Atelier Biscuit, which is also quite rosy and cool. And you can see next to the Mauve Beauty, the Mauve Beauty is even more rosier and cooler. These colors are extremely nuanced. So if you have yet to find a bronzer, bronzer, whichever, that is rosy enough for your liking and that makes your skin have a believable bronze, these are incredible. And then these, although they are colors that you typically find in a blush formula, I do think that they're still nuanced. I'm going to swatch Mood from Merit and Get Some from About Face. So Get Some is much more red. The Mood from Merit, I shouldn't have swatched like that. What's the best way to show you this? Oh Lord, okay. Mood is the closest, but again, I think there's almost the teensiest, tiniest touch of purple added in the Mauve Beauty. Beautiful, beautiful nuanced colors. I will talk about the formula. The powders feel very dry when you touch them and swatch them, but they blend out so beautifully by barely touching them, and they're very diffused, again, satin finish that just looks kind of airbrushed on the cheek. It doesn't look overly matte and powdery even on my dry skin. And then the creams feel super, super silky to the touch, silkier than the Salt New York and grippier than the Merit. There's more body to them, but they also blend out extremely well. And again, these ones are going to give you not a dewy finish. As you can see, there's like a satin quality to it, but a very light satin, and they almost set down. And you can really control pigmentation because this color can be very pigmented for someone with a deeper complexion, whereas on me, it's a very nice light wash of that color. If you can't tell, I'm really digging these formulas, but I'm going to try to keep this as short-winded as possible. Knowing me, that's still not very short-winded, but we're going to get into the eyes now. All right, so I picked up two powder shadows here in M43 and M64. Then I picked up two cake liners, one in brown, which is M90, and then one in black, which is M41. We are going to start with that champagne shimmery shade, which is M41 in the powder eyeshadow. And I'm going to put that all over my lid, as in like all over. And you'll see that this is a shimmer and it does hit the light nicely, but it's not a foil. It's a true kind of satin shimmer, and it's very, very lovely. You can see the powder that just flew off the brush. Part of that is this brush, but these are quite powdery. I get kick up when I'm using kind of a denser, fluffier brush in them. I'm just going to buff that all the way up and hit under the brow bone as well, like a whole shimmery eye. But see, I do get kick up, but as you know, if you watch my videos, that is not a problem for me. I don't mind that in the slightest. So then I'm going to pick a precise crease brush. This is the Spectrum Katie Jane Hughes in 13, just a smaller, slightly larger than a pencil brush, but definitely smaller than a crease brush. And I'm gonna go into that maroon shade now, which is M64. I say maroon, but it's berry. We've been talking about this, berry. And I'm going to start along the lash line, not being super precise, just trying to get a little bit of color along the lash line. I really hope you cannot hear whatever that is going on outside. Then I'm gonna bring that into the outer V, creating a V shape and sweeping it up into the crease a little bit. And I'm going very lightly because this is a color that can make you look a little sick if you don't have it in quite the right undertone. It's very hard for me to pull off kind of like red pinky shades. But how we're going to build this, I'll show you a trick that I do with shades like this. But I'm going to take whatever's left over on the brush, bring it into my crease, and again, continue to build that color. It's not that these aren't pigmented, I'm going in very lightly because of the nature of this berry color. But that's where I'm gonna leave that for now, just blending a little bit more into my crease. I'm gonna go do the other eye, which we'll zip through. I'm just gonna take a brush with no product and just run it over so it's a very diffused look. And then this is where we're going to turn it from pink eye to normal eye. Pink eye to non-pink eye, we'll do that. I'm gonna take a smudger brush or a flat shader brush, and I'm gonna go in dry to the cake liner in the brown shade, which is M90. I love that they have cake liners because I've tried the one from Laura Mercier, and while it was okay, it wasn't as versatile as this one because I can use this one dry or wet depending on if I want a very smoky blended line or if I want a crisp kind of gel liner like line. That's what's great about these and the portability of it. Instead of having a pot of gel liner, you just have a pan and a palette of things that you're already using. So if you can see there, that's my trick, turning that kind of more reddish shade into something that's a little bit more brown, cool it off just a touch. I love that. I'm gonna do the same on the other eye, and what I'm doing is starting with creating that line along my lash line, flicking my wing, and then blending, dragging it all the way in until I get the blend that I want. And then we'll go back in with that first brush with nothing on it and just blend over that again. Very soft eyeshadow look. Because the star of the show today is going to be the lips, because we're in berry statement lip territory now that it is fall. But just for showing you, I'm going to take a liner brush and we're going to spritz this with Fix Plus. And we're gonna go into that black cake liner. And you just wanna work your brush into the pan like this until your brush is coated like this. And then I'm gonna go in just along the lash line. And you can see how it's almost like a liquid liner at this point, but the best part about it is you get to choose what brush, hence what style of liquid liner it is. This would almost be like a very fine brush tip applicator. You could go in with an angled pencil brush, whichever you feel you have more control over, so it's a little bit more versatile in that way as well. And voila, I've got a nice thin line. Now, I do think I want to go in and smoke that out with the brown again, just because I want it to be super diffuse. So I'm going into that cake liner dry again and just smudging the line that we just created. Yeah. We've lost a decent amount of berry with how much brown I've added, so I'm gonna add a little bit more of the berry into the crease. Oh yes, I like. So now what I'm gonna do is hop off screen, put on some lashes, and we will come back to talk lips and then wrap this up with an overview of the brand, overview of my thoughts around the products, and yeah, let's dive in. All right, my mascara is on. Let's go in now for the lip. And honestly, I'm gonna have to pop it out. So with the lip, it's this reusable or refillable component, and then you buy the refills like this. You can, for the first time, purchase them together, but it doesn't say the shade anywhere. I got this in M63, and I love that their packaging when it comes in, especially the lipsticks, which are covered, have the sticker on the side. I bet you could take that off and wrap it on the component if you want, but your component's not going to allow you to see what color is what. But they're a beautiful berry red. I do think my lighting's a little blown out because this is deeper. Bear with me, I'm gonna have to learn lighting with this new background. I know that it's very contrasting with my skin tone, but it's almost true to color. We might adjust for the ending of this, but this lipstick is very creamy, as you saw. I got the kind of like more lustrous finish. It just melts with contact right onto the lips, and we'll get into formula. If you want to be precise, go in with a lip liner, which I'm actually going to do. I thought I could get away with it, but I'm gonna add a little bit of the Wet n Wild lip crayon in 715 Plumberry, just on the edges. A little more precise. All right, this is the finished look. I'm gonna go adjust my lights real quick. Okay, much more true to color, just a slight difference, but there's that lipstick. And let's go ahead and swatch the others and run through the swatches really quick, just with this new light situation. All right, oh gosh, I did it again. Here are the swatches. So up top, we have the Cream Clay eyeshadows. I have it in M88, the pink shade, that pale bubblegum pink. Then I have it in M83, that beautiful lavender pastel shade. Very pigmented, very, very creamy. There's much more kind of matte grip to those than the cream blushes and bronzer, but they're beautiful. They blend. I cannot wait to do a look with these. It's happening. It might just be a separate video. Then I have the lipstick swatched in M63, this beautiful red berry shade. And then moving into the palette that I created, which has 4 eyeshadow type products, 2 cream face products, and 2 powder products. The first being the cream. So I have the cream blush in the shade M73. Then we have the cream bronzer in M80. Then the bronzer in shade M36. The blush in M41. Then this is where we get into the eye products, which I swatched. Very odd. So this is that first champagne color. It leans much more gold and peach with kind of champagne reflect, and that is the shade M43. Then we have that berry eyeshadow, which you can see is much deeper when I swatch it. I went very delicately with that. That's M64. Then we have the brown cake liner dry, which is a nice cool chocolate brown, which is M90, and then the black, which looks kind of gray, but as you build it up or use it wet, it's going to be very stark black, and that is M41. So you can see this palette was really going for the fall vibes. And then with the cream clay eyeshadows, they don't have many colors. Most of them are pastels, so I got two that I knew I would play with the most. We probably could have used the pink today, but I really wanted to do like a soft, smoky berry look. And I'm very happy with this face of makeup. So that being said, let me get my computer and let's dive into who Mob Beauty is as a brand and why I'm this excited. All right, so I'm looking off of the Mob Beauty mission page, which goes through all of their values, ethos, all of that. I know that the computer lighting has washed me out a little bit. Bear with me. You've already seen me without it. So they are Earth First. They have refillable packaging, sustainable materials, recycling, sustainability, and progress, and they are partners with PACT. So the refillable packaging, they say, you have our commitment that if we don't have a sustainable packaging solution for a product, we won't launch it. We spend as much time on our sustainability efforts, gotta warm the tongue up, and packaging design as we do on our product, and we are focused on reducing waste and the use of single-use plastics in our industry. We also don't believe you should buy packaging more than once because that is not a good deal for you or the planet. With that in mind, we design our Earth First packaging system to be endlessly reusable and refillable. Reducing consumption reduces waste, so we created compacts and palettes that are infinitely customizable, allowing you to make purposeful choices and individually buy only the products and shades you know you will use. Plus, what is better than having a palette designed by you and for you? So I will say any type of palette design like this, like Salt New York, like any of the indie brands, yes, they're creating the ability for you to create your own custom palette. And what I love about this is the pan size is the same for the face products. They will fit 2 eye products. So these are all the same size pan. On the back, it allows you to see the name of the products printed on the pegs that lock those into place. So the best part about this, besides being able to see the names on the back and the pans all fitting into this type of compact, is you just pop this piece up, which is very easy to do from the front here, and then you can remove and reinsert whatever colors you want, and those are the pegs I mentioned before that hold them into place in the palette. So once you set it back in, you just lock this, and you're good to go. I love that it is clear so you can see everything that you need to see. I love that you can see the names on the back. And again, it feels good quality enough that yes, this is going to last you a very long time. I cannot get over how thick this is. It's probably 1/4 of an inch. Like the thickness that you see there on the edge is the thickness of this insert clear piece in the middle, which usually it's very flimsy. So it feels nice and weighty, and it's going to last. It might look, you know, simple, but I don't mind that. I actually prefer that. And the fact that it feels like it's going to last a long time really holds to the claim that they're making about only having to purchase things once. Everything is the same with the smaller palettes, and there's even a 4-pan palette. So I have the 1 pan and the 6 pan. So they have one that's kind of in the middle, but the same principle goes here. You just pop this centerpiece open. You can pop out the colors that you want to switch out. You see what holds that kind of peg on the back of this in place. Pop it back in, and you're good to go. And again, just as thick on that and center clear piece. So they also say that they use sustainable materials. We've carefully selected materials with consideration of their environmental impact, which is why all of our packaging is made from PET and PP resin, which is the easiest to recycle with at least 50% post-consumer recycled content, reusing material that already exists in the waste stream. And they say, surprise, using post-consumer recycled materials can be more expensive and challenging because it's difficult to work with, and our packaging was the first time most of our suppliers had ever used our requested material composition, which that's wild because all of these companies are pushing for, or telling us that they're pushing for this. But they said we wouldn't settle and challenged partners to work with us to push boundaries. We're encouraged by our success this far, and we are on a mission to hit 100% PCR for all of our packaging. We are working on it, and we will keep you posted on our progress here. I cannot read today. But then they have a breakdown percentage-wise of the recycled material used in the packaging as of last October. I'll pop that up on the screen. The transparency is one of the things that I just absolutely love about this brand so far. It's crazy. They also have a few more facts that you can read. But then I want to touch on recycling. So they're Earth First. It says how to dispose of your mob packaging. You can keep and refill your compacts, pallets, and capsules. Recycle the outer packaging in your home bin, which is that cardboard sleeves that they use, and or remove and recycle the label and home compost the package separately. So what they're saying is you can take these stickers off of the cardboard sleeves and compost the cardboard, which is also awesome because some of these are too small to throw into like your local recycling bin. It says separate the paper and aluminum pan on your minis, recycle the paper packaging in your home bin while aluminum pan is 100% recyclable. Check with your local facility about how best to recycle them due to the small size. Then it says the refills are too small to be recycled at home because they are smaller than a yogurt cup, so drop your empty and cleaned MOB refills into packed recycling bin inside any Credo store in the US or Hudson's Bay store in Canada. They have a link to find locations, or you can use the new packed mail back recycling program if you don't have access to a packed bin, which I do not, so that would be how I would have to do that. But then a little bit more about the brand. They say that it started with a mission to do better beauty for our planet, and after 3 years in development, we released a trial of the new purpose packaging in July of 2022, which I do have that as well. So this is the recycled plastic component that we just talked about. They sent for free with my purchase. They don't know that I'm posting about this. It was just what they're sending to their consumers. They sent this along with this compact. These are made from cardboard, bamboo, sugarcane, flax, corn, and wheat starches. They're refillable and they turn into a nutrient-rich soil at the end of their life. They're working on additional components for this series with a goal to launch fully compostable packaging by 2024. I will say, these do feel like they would break down eventually, but they're going to last you, I think, long enough to get more than enough use out of them. Especially this one. I think this one lends a little bit better to this type of packaging. The lipstick component is a little bit more, you can see there's some give. It's a little bit more easily broken down, I think, especially if it's rolling around in your bag. Even if I kind of like try to close it too tight, I'm like crunching the top piece in, if you can see that. So I do prefer for the lipstick, the recycled plastic. You also get a satisfying click. You know that it's not going to come off in your purse. This, I don't know about, but I love that they're trying to do it. Then they go into their partnership with Pact. I'm not going to read that. If you're interested, I'll leave the link below, but I do want to touch on this brand was founded by someone who was in R&D, research and development at MAC Cosmetics, and he left MAC and wanted to start a company where he could really start impacting how much waste is produced in the beauty industry, which I think we've seen it with Aether. It's such an admirable thing and they have such great ideas. But that said, they talk about their formulations on here, and these are all clean, sustainable, cruelty-free, and vegan formulas. Those are their product requirements, and their deep roots in R&D. They're confident that they can deliver on these values without any compromise to performance. They take a product-first approach and never settle for anything less than pro-performance makeup, which means great payoff, high pigment, smooth and easy to blend textures with no fallout and long wear. Every formula and shade is meticulously tested and perfected before launch, and our products are named in numerical order on which each is approved. So far, we are up to M89 with so much more to come, especially with great ideas we get from the Mob Nation community. Keep sending us your feedback and requests. And then they go further into their requirements for their formulations. They have a no list, so if you're into clean beauty products, they do have all of the things that they will not be including. They have vegan exclusions, sustainability exclusions and health exclusions. And I love it. It is sustainability isn't jargon, it's our future. 2 is people over marketing. 3 is quality over wastefulness. And 4 is transparency equals truth. We started Mob Beauty to build a different kind of brand, a brand that's defined by our community and good for the planet. We're in it for the long haul. I know that I just read a lot, but I wanted to make sure that that was all included in this video because I think as we have seen an influx of brands kind of jumping on the clean bandwagon or the sustainability bandwagon, and there are some brands that absolutely nail it. I think Elate Beauty is one of them. This is a brand that is really coming through on their claims, even from already. They haven't been launched that long and they're already coming out with kind of like a second option that is even more sustainable than the first. The formulations are absolutely beautiful. You can tell that someone who has had a lot of experience in formulating has formulated these products. My skin looks airbrushed. It lasts all day. The lipstick is lightweight and nourishing and evenly pigmented, even for that stark of a berry color. The eyeshadows blend beautifully and last. I'm over the moon about this company, and I waited because I had put in a second order with the lip balm because I wanted to try the lip balm, and since they had sent the extra container, I just ordered the refill. And then I also grabbed a couple blush colors and eyeshadow colors to kind of round out my collection because I was so happy with it. And while the first order came very quickly, I'm still waiting that second order. So we might do a part 2, a part 3 of this brand. If I was happy to support any brand on my channel, I love this one so far. And the fact that they believe in transparency, especially being in manufacturing, I believe very heavily in transparency. I think in the day and age of us having all this knowledge at our fingertips, it almost feels like a true failure that brands are not trusting the consumers to really give them the transparency. We deserve that, you know, and we want to vote with our dollar and support the companies that align with our ethos. I think this is one of them. I will leave pricing down below. We won't go through that, but I will say it's moderately priced and I would pay every penny for these products again. You will be seeing more of them on my channel, especially this nice berry look for fall. So I hope you're having a wonderful day. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know how you feel about the new background. I will get the lighting right. It just might take a couple of times, so bear with me. But I hope that this kicks off a great weekend for you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.